Everybody, I'm going live today about something a little different from sales advice. So I hope that you're cool with that. I've been reading this book called Straight Line Leadership. It is so good. I would highly recommend it. And there's this chapter about ownership versus victim. And it really made me, realize a lot of things about, people that I talk to and of course myself. Um, a lot of people feel like they're at the mercy of their lives. So, like, they're waiting for something and they have a lot of excuses why something hasn't happened yet. So it's because I didn't have enough money, or it's because it wasn't the right time, or it's because they weren't the right people, or it wasn't the right opportunity, or it's because I had this other thing coming up. So, like, they're always at the victim of circumstances outside of themselves. And it doesn't matter what the circumstance is. And I know this is like kind of a drastic way to look at it, but literally, like, if everyone was in a tragic accident, you still don't have to be at the mercy of that tragedy. I hope that never happens, and you should allow yourself to grieve. And I'm not saying like don't give yourself grace or anything like that, but you are constantly creating your life whether you realize it or not. So when you say like that's just the way I am, like people who have personalities that are, hot-tempered, oh well, that's just the way I am. No, it doesn't have to be the way you are. You are actually in control of your life. You can make the choice to own every decision that you make. And it's a very empowering feeling to be able to do that. And mindset absolutely relates to sales. So a lot of people like to look at other reasons that they're not making sales, right? Oh, well, it's the time of year. Oh, well, they're bad prospects. Oh, well, it's a bad offer or whatever, you know what I mean? And it comes, and some of those things might be true, but it's like, what are you going to do about it? You can stay selling, you can stay selling to those prospects, you can change what you're doing. The only way that you're going to change your situation is looking at yourself and what choices you're making consciously or subconsciously, because either way, like, you're creating the situation. And not just the way that you react, which of course affects the situation, but also in the choices that you're making moving forward. So owners, like in this chapter, it talks about how owners are living in the future and victims are living in the past. So they have these personality traits that they've developed that used to serve them well as children to get out of whatever situation. They used to just play, oh, well, that's just me. Like, you just have to love me, all of the pros and cons. And that worked. So they're still relying on these behavioral traits that are actually pushing people away, for example, maybe somebody that they love. I mean, this applies to everything in your life, your personal, your romantic, your children, your family, your professional, your physical body, like your health. You absolutely if you don't own it, you're never going to be able to create the life you want. So waiting for the right time or waiting for the right money or whatever, they're all illusions that leave you at the mercy of living a life that you don't want. So it's like, what do you want? And how can I get there? What action step do I have to take? Like, directly, the next action step would be this, and then the next action step would be this. Like, you don't have to think so far ahead either. You can just look at, like, literally the next step. So there's a couple of quotes in here that I really loved. So the owner gives himself permission to live the life that he chooses. The victim is still trying to get permission from someone or something outside of himself. So when you are stressed or frustrated, look at yourself saying, like, am I operating from a victim place or an ownership place? And when you operate from a victim, does it bring you stress or peace? Or who would you be if you shifted to an owner and you were going to change what you were doing? Test it out. So it's not about denying reality. It's about accepting that you're creating your reality. So what can you do to create the reality that you want? And knowing that if you don't do that, it's no one's fault but your own that you're in a reality that you do not like. And not that that's like, oh, blame yourself. It's like empowering that you are in complete control of your life. It's freedom. It's freeing. So many people just live their lives without even understanding that they can change whatever they want. And I'm not saying you can only do what you believe. I'm not saying like, go like storm Wall Street and like buy a company or something, obviously. But you can take steps to reach that goal if that's something that you want. I think also you need to pull back and think about like, what's my goal? Is it to make money? There are other ways to do that than storming Wall Street and buying a company. Let's look at more realistic solutions. But you know what I mean? A lot of people function from this victim place, and it just doesn't get you anywhere that you want to be. So it's about looking at yourself. What did I do in that situation? What could I do differently moving forward based on what I want? So, do you want the story of you to be based on past hurts and injuries to your ego? That's where most people live. No wonder they're always so overly careful and cautious. No wonder they're always playing it safe and never really risking doing anything extraordinary, because they're just so scared of whatever happened in the past. So like I posted on my profile a little bit ago about how regret was a pointless emotion, and a lot of people disagreed with me. And if regret, fuels your progress, then go for it. But if you're constantly living in a place where like you feel terrible about something that happened, that feeling terrible about it is a victim place to come from, rather than saying, yeah, I really wish that hadn't happened, and here's how I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen ever again moving forward. It's such a more powerful place to live and such a more productive place to move forward from. So you can remember how awful it felt when you did that thing, so that you make sure that it doesn't happen again. But you don't have to sit there just regretting and not doing anything except regretting. That's not a good use of time or energy in my experience, basically. If it is for you, then, obviously, me, I'm like about whatever works for you. So, yeah, it's all about like challenging yourself and growing and expanding, and they tend to be satisfied. So victims carry around a negative inner parental voice, and they are still subconsciously responding to words that were shouted at them when they were young, as opposed to creating their own voice. So a lot of this stuff is just really powerful. I would highly recommend the book, and highly recommend, if you're frustrated with something in your life right now, take a look at what you did to get there. Yes, there were probably other things involved. There were other people involved that sucked. There were other circumstances that seemed out of your control that sucked, but you can't do anything about those. So if you just focus on those, you're going to feel out of control. Whereas if you focus on what I did in this situation to get me here, you will be able to change it so that it never happens again, and you will be able to adjust it moving forward so that you get a result that you like. So I would highly suggest taking a moment and thinking about that. I have my own things. I still need to create my course. It's really annoying that I haven't done it. I need to like hold myself accountable. And if that's what I want, if I want a way to have a scalable income that isn't dependent completely on my time, then that's something that I need to do. And I should probably also examine why I'm not doing it. But anyway, I hope this is helpful in some way, you guys. Look at yourself, not in a way that like, I'm bad. What did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? What are my flaws? But in the way of like, how can I do this differently so that I get what I want? All right. I hope you guys have a great day.